Good evening, everybody. Welcome once again to Haunt Chat Live. Tonight in our spotlight, we have the Calling Hours Horror Podcast with Michael Jones, the Dead Man. I wanted to have everybody give it a very, very warm welcome to our one and only Gravedigger, Reverend Michael.
Hey, how you doing, everybody? How you doing? All right, so just a little something info for you. We can't get Michael's camera working, so unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see Michael tonight. But you can kind of see on this little picture on his thing down here, right down there. You know that's Michael Jones, the Dead Man. So Michael, how you doing? How you doing? Wonderful name, by the way.
I'm good. I want to thank you guys for having me on. It's kind of weird being on the opposite side of the microphone, so to speak.
Well, if you're on the opposite side of the microphone, you got a cord plugged into your face, so that wouldn't be good anyway. But
yeah, I mean, it's true.
Well, we're glad to hear you. Now, Michael, you are the host and producer and the brains behind the Calling Hours. Is that not correct?
Yes, that's true. It's fun being a podcaster. I enjoy that.
You do. I've listened to a couple of years. I've managed to take some time out of my day and listen to a few of your shows. You produce a 2-hour plus or minus podcast. Now that's a big feat. There's a lot that goes into doing 2 hours of podcast because you got a whole bunch of stuff in it. So give us a little rundown about what the Calling Hours Horror Podcast is all about.
We just lost him, it looks like.
Oh, shoot.
We are definitely having technical difficulties.
And he's back. Back. Things are kicking in. All right, how much of it can you hear us now? Can you hear us now? It's signing back in. Okay. We've gone through
a fun show.
Yeah, well, we've gone through it before. We've had text back and forth and things like that. Oh, goodness, the fun of live television, right? You got to deal with it however you get it. Can you hear us, Michael?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, we're back in that. So I don't know how much of what I said you heard before you dropped off, but basically give us a rundown of what the Calling Hours Horror Podcast is all about.
Well, for us, for me, it was always, I wanted to talk about the things in the horror industry that interested me. Movie reviews, interviews with people, metal music. I'm a big death metal and black metal fan. So basically what I do every week is, you come into the show. I have what's called the Metal Massacre Spotlights, and there's 3 of those every episode. And those are different songs from different bands, whatever.
Those are some heavy things too, boy.
I don't play around with my music. So I'll do the first one of those, and then I'll do what I call the digital dismemberment. And what that is that's kind of like my version of an autopsy report on a film. And then I do the second Metal Massacre. And then I do the usually hour to hour and 10 minute long interview. And then when we come out of that, I play the final Metal Massacre. And then I have a new segment that we've just started called The Traumatic Tales of Dead Man and Grumpy. And Grumpy is a good friend of mine here in North Carolina. We get together and go to his underground bunker and watch B-rated horror films and kind of do the whole Joe Bob Briggs style of review. So that's pretty much the show.
Speaking of Joe Bob Briggs, you just had a wonderful interview with Mr. Joe Bob Briggs.
That guy is amazing. I mean,
know, right?
I'm old enough to remember, I remember his run on Monster Vision, and I vaguely remember on the movie channel as well. And there was just something unique about him with that. He never took any guff. He shot straight from the hip. He told it the way that he saw it, but he made the reviews entertaining. He talked about the nudity. He talked about the blood. He talked about the gore. He talked about the humor. But even back then, he found a way to show how these films influenced pop culture and why they are so relevant to people like us. And he hasn't lost that step. And I think what he's done with Shudder recently is absolutely amazing.
Okay, I got to ask you, Michael, do you like cats?
Do I like cats?
Do you like cats?
I mean, they're okay.
Because right now there's a cat stealing the show. One of my cats is crawling all over the place up here.
It's all right.
Anyway, I before we go any further, I gotta bring out, say who our giveaway sponsor this episode this month, by the way, is Inferno Effects. And I think I might have talked to you, Mike, a little bit about what we do on here. We have a giveaway every month. And this week is the quarter mask, grin mask. And I got a picture of it here from Inferno Effects. That's infernaleffects.com. They've generously donated this for a giveaway. So at the end of the show, we are going to ask a question. And the first one is send the correct answer to the email of hauntchatlive@gmail.com. That's the first one to send the answer, and that way it's easy for me to tell who it is. First one I receive wins this mask. And so I just want to get that out there so everybody listen close to the stuff that Michael's telling us. We'll ask a question about it at the end, and we'll win you a mask. And by the way, we're wiping out, for those of you regular watchers, we are wiping out the rule about 1 win per season. Oh my goodness, look out. But Nate Dingman, I'll tell you, if you win more than 3 times this season, you're out of here. So anyway. All right.
That's a pretty cool little mask. I mean, I kind of got my start as an effects artist. I mean, that was part of the reason I became the journalist and why I started the podcast too. Just this past Halloween, my company, Slit of the Wrist Effects, which is just kind of me and whoever I decided to bring in, we did the makeup for the Raleigh Zombie Walk this year.
Cool.
So got a couple film projects coming up. So it's like, to me, horror is not just work. It's a lifestyle.
Well, whatever you do can't be just work. You got to have fun with what you do.
Oh, agreed.
You got to entertain yourself as much as you entertain anybody else, right?
I do agree with that.
Luckily, I'm easily entertained. So, now you said the Raleigh Zombie Walk, so that brings a tell them now you're out of you're not out of Raleigh, but you're out of Carolina, right?
Well, I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Oh, you are in Raleigh. Okay.
Yeah. All right. It's interesting, things have been a little tougher here for filmmakers from a couple years back when they cut the tax break out. But, there's talks of them hopefully bringing that back, and there's starting to be more of that independent flair in the Carolinas again for filmmaking.
Well, cool. That's awesome. So, you've done now, like I said, I've listened to a few of your casts. They're 2 hours long, and I got to tell you, I have a difficult time finding 2 hours, but I listen to them bits at a time. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So that we go through. Now, you've done some awesome interviews, and you've done not just people like Joe Bob, but directors and actors and all kinds of things, and people having to do with the different movies also that you've reviewed. So what have you gotten a chance to do any local live, have them actually come into your studio? I know you have a produced show, so you do,
right.
You do the segments, people call in, whatever, you record it. Have you had any chances to have anybody actually come in and do live interviews with you?
No, and that's one of the things I'm hoping to start doing in the coming year. There is a lot of good local talent, and the show started at Horror Society. I'm now with morbidlybeautiful.com, and one of the things we try to emphasize and stress on the site is, yes, we cover the big names, yes, we cover the big releases, but we really like to cover the independent director, the up-and-coming guy, the people that don't have the $1 million budgets, that are just trying to get their names out there. And that's what you see in a lot of the episodes. And granted, yes, I have been getting bigger and bigger guests as the years gone on, but I don't forget where I came from. Like, as an effects artist, I don't see myself as the next Tom Savini or the next Screaming Mad George or, Gianetto de Rossi.
Right.
I do it because I love to do it, and I love to see filmmakers trying to break in. At least here, there's a great diversity. The last film set I worked on, 3 African-American producers, director, writer, Asian actors, Latino crew members. It was just a great melting pot. And those are the kinds of things I try to celebrate and bring onto the show as well.
That's awesome. I don't know if you caught last month's show or not, but speaking of indie horror, we had Jeff Frumas on, who put out Romeo's Distress, and he's working on another indie horror film right now. So we had him on. So you might want to check that one out and see about maybe talking to him. A wonderful guy. Jeff is a wonderful guy. And next month, Deborah Lamb. I don't know if you know that name, Deborah Lamb.
Oh, I know Deborah Lamb. Yes,
she's going to be our guest next month too. So. This show itself, we started out strictly haunt industry. Mistress Laurie and I run a haunt called Sinister Sydney here in Sydney, Iowa also. So I wanted to make sure I got all those haunt industry podcasts and those people going. And now we're moving more into the horror and indie horror and stuff like that too, moving on and growing a little bit. Hence why we've got the calling hours on here now.
Well, hey, let me ask you a question then, since you've done the whole haunt thing.
All right.
What did you think of Hellfest?
What did I think of Hellfest? Well, if I would maybe been able to go to Hellfest or check out Hellfest, I might be able to give you more information on that.
I thought it was a pretty interesting movie because I've done some of the local haunted houses and stuff around here, and I thought they really did a good job of showing the behind the kind of like the behind the scenes and what goes on in a haunt to make it all work. So I think it's one you should check out. It might draw your interest. Good,
because there's been another one out there recently that has had very mixed reviews. Life of a Haunter.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Okay, and that's the one that goes out. Unfortunately, well, I don't diss anybody. Somebody put a lot of time and a lot of work into it, and it's a wonderful film. And so yeah, check that one out too. But that's also a lot about what it takes to build a haunt and to be in the haunt industry.
Oh, and people like the outside people have no idea.
Oh, no, they don't.
The amount of time and effort and everything that you guys put into doing stuff like that's amazing.
Well,
yeah, I have no idea.
When you're shooting a movie, you got a script and you got these scenes and you got to do this scene and you got to do this scene and you do that scene and then it goes to editing and gets put together and it's done. Imagine having to do that, only do new scenes every year and do them every night again and again and get them right every time.
Yeah, we have a really good one here in North Carolina, right outside of Youngsville, Raleigh. It's called the Haunted Forest at Panic Point. And these guys, oh my God, the guy's got like 50 acres of land and he's got like these 9 attractions that he does. Stunning stuff. I'm thinking about getting more involved in that kind of stuff next year too.
Now, honey, where's Christopher out of? Isn't he out of like the Raleigh area, out of North Carolina?
Christopher
Presley, a friend of ours in the haunt industry. He's a home haunter, but he is good at rallying all the. You got 2 kind of haunters going on here. You got the pros; those are the ones that you pay to go to see and things. And then the much bigger part of the industry is the home haunters. There are thousands, literally thousands around, the country. And the home haunters are those people who they're not getting any money back from it. They're doing it just because they love it. And they build displays. And, those are the ones that you drive by and you see the decorations up around the haunt time, around Halloween season. And they may do haunted houses. They may have walkthroughs. They might just have displays. But there are thousands of these people out there and they are wonderful. They will rival the pros, but they do it purely because they like it, because they're not getting any money out of it.
Right. I respect people that do that too, man. There's an art to horror. You either get it or you don't. So anyone who does it, I appreciate the art form.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Speaking of being an art form, you kind of glazed over the effects that you do. The name of your effects company and everything.
Yeah, it's the name of the
about that.
Yeah, sure. The name of the company is Slit of the Wrist Effects. That kind of came about you talk about the haunt and everything. I've been a journalist in the industry a lot longer than anything else. And about 2006, I went to a haunted house called the Frightmare here in Raleigh. And I was going to interview the owner for the website I was writing for. And he told me about his friend who was doing a zombie film in Sanford, North Carolina called The Forever Dead. So I decided I was going to go out and cover it for the website. I brought my makeup kit because I've always played around with the effects makeup. And it was a 24-hour shoot. So I get there. We wound up painting up almost 40 zombies. I wound up getting an ad-libbed role. And I helped out, and I thought that was it. You know, I did my dream. I actually got to work on a film. Right place, right time. Well, the next day, the director calls me and says the head makeup person quit. Would I come in?
Oh, damn.
Finish it. So I said yes, and I did that.
Now you're like, I don't know. Just...
Well, I kind of had to clear that one with the ex-wife. Hence why X is in front of that. Anyway, so I did that one. We took it to a local film festival. I met another group of filmmakers, helped them with a zombie film. And then I answered an ad on Craigslist. And this is when Craigslist was legit. It's not legit anymore. And I wound up working with a director named Aaron Harvey on a film called The Evil Woods. And later on, it wound up getting picked up by Lionsgate Home DVD. And then I worked on something called Mental Scars with Viper Productions that had it was the last movie that Sonny Landham was in before he passed away.
All right.
And then I've done a bunch of shorts since then, but you know, do a lot of, you know, like the bars at Halloween or zombie walks and stuff like that. I've got a couple of shorts I'll be working on here with a group called Vision 20 Films. They're out of Durham. And I have another gentleman, you know, there's no paperwork or anything signed yet, but he's kind of got like this zombie idea that he wants to do too. So like I said, it's picking up and I love it. I mean, it was one of those things as a writer. I was sitting there critiquing films, and then one day the epiphany hit me. I'm like, who the hell am I to judge a movie on its effects or anything when I've never worked on one?
There you go.
And now that I've worked on one, you know, I never go out of my way to destroy a movie. I try to point out all the good things. A lot of the average fans don't realize, like, just like a haunt, people don't realize everything that goes into it. They don't realize that if the sun shines too bright one day, you might have to change your whole shooting schedule.
Yeah.
If it rains, you have to do something else. You know, there are things that people just don't know. And it's not like, okay, we're going to work, we're going to party, we're going to make a movie, it'll be out at the end of the week. It's, you guys know. A lot of people think that's what it is. They think it's partying and, oh, it'll take you a week to edit it. Well, no. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it.
So that brings me to now. You do about a 2-hour show.
Yes.
Now, what's your schedule for the show? I mean, how often do you put it out?
I try to do a show every week, and I've been pretty good about that. I've been doing the show for about 5 years now. I had taken a year off hiatus when I changed websites.
Right.
And the show airs the show airs Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on morbidlybeautiful.com. You can listen to the show there on the site. The show is also available through almost any outlet that you can download and follow podcasts on, like Stitcher, iTunes, things like that.
Yeah.
And then Friday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Mile High Radio, I'm in syndication both in the States and overseas.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So you do a 2-hour show every week. Each one of these shows contains multiple segments. How much of your life does this take up doing this show? I mean, is this your full-time job?
I mean, for the most part, yes, but it's it's a little bit easier than people think sometimes. It's funny.
Don't tell them that. Everybody want to do it.
Well, no, but I'll give you an example. It's like when I have a new filmmaker on and they've never done a podcast before, and I tell them it's going to be a 1 hour interview. They're like, "Oh my God, I can't talk for an hour." And I'm like, you would be surprised once you get going how fast a 1 hour interview goes. I could have kept Joe Bob on the phone for 3 hours.
He likes to talk. He likes to talk. I'm really looking forward to. We're going to be broadcasting from Crypticon, Kansas City, in July, and Joe Bob's kind of the spokesman for that this year.
Oh, nice!
So I'm really looking forward to chatting with him and Dee Wallace and those guys. So that'll be good. Bill Mosley will be there, all that kind of stuff. Yes, I'm dropping names.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. But like, you asked me how much of my time does it take?
Yes.
The biggest time consumer, to be honest with you, is watching the films. Because like Scream Factory is one of the companies that sends me stuff for review, and I go over everything, the video quality, sound quality, special features, all of it. And, that's the hard part is like some of these discs have 6 hours of bonus footage. So, it's just my time that way. Like you might be surprised to know that my interviews, that's all one take. It's usually not scripted. When I had Joe Bob on, I mean, like I do my research. I know what I want to ask him, but I don't have a list of 20 questions. I'll have about 4 main questions. And then what I have found is you ask the first main question and then you build conversation off of the answers. It's more organic.
Wait a minute. You have a list of questions?
No, I don't. I usually have 4 main questions that I'll ask them though. And then I offshoot from there.
Sure.
It's so much easier. As far as the reviews and stuff go, Grumpy and I, we tape our segment ahead of time. It's exactly a 13-minute segment. We have it broken down on how we do it. So we pre-record those. I can do the same thing with my digital dismemberment. The other parts of filling it in are just picking the 3 songs that will be on the show. So basically, I have to make sure that my interview does not make the show run longer than 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Right. Gotcha.
So I kind of chop it up into segments so that I don't have to rush if I don't have to.
I understand that, Kirsty. We do only a half-hour show here.
Right.
So it's the same thing. Every once in a while, the people watching will see me look down. Yes, I'm checking the clock. It is currently 8:25, so we got 5 more minutes to go. But it's the same thing. I have had guests on who, it's like pulling teeth to get them to say anything.
Yes.
Yeah. But then I've got other ones who I'm like, all right, sorry to cut you off, but so I always try and stop a couple minutes early, make sure they get in everything that they want to get in. So you said you've been doing the calling hours for 5 years?
Yes.
Is that correct? Well, no, never mind. You already told me what made you start doing it, how you wanted to get into it. So where do you see it going then? Is you like this format, or you're looking at doing any change ups, or?
I'm always looking to find ways to make the show more interesting. I'm not a really big comedy person when I'm doing the show. It's hard to explain to people, there's Mike Jones, the effects artist and writer, and then there's the dead man when that mic turns on.
Oh, gee, I don't know anything about that. I'm thinking about trying to do that stuff.
And it's Grumpy is kind of like my comic release. He's really good at the comedy and he brings that out in me. The rest of the show I kind of do in a serious manner. So I'm always looking for ways to add new things when it comes to that. I'm always open to new ideas, new discussions. So it's just whatever, the listeners seem to like and respond to. And for 5 years, people seem to like the music. They like the interviews. I kind of see it as if it isn't broke, don't fix it.
There you go. There you go. I like that. I like that one. We're not still fixing. We're still building. I mean, of course, this is only season 2 for this episode, so we're still building. Like I said, we're starting to kind of move into. It's always been we interview the interviewers, but now moving into the horror genre and not so much just the haunt industry. We're moving on. We're going to have some actors, some directors, things like that on here, intermingled with the podcasters and the other show people who do the interviews going on. So we're growing a little bit and bringing people in, and I'm trying to get, working on getting the people like, people who have been around for a while that have some knowledge behind it and some wisdom to bring into doing the show. I heard a little chuckle.
Hey, I mean, anything I can do, with Morbidly Beautiful or Coughing Cuties magazine that I write for, or the Digital Dead magazine that I write for. If we can ever help you, spread out. If you need help with guests or something, man, don't be afraid to reach out, man.
I am going to take you up on that. I am going to definitely take you up on that.
And you guys, I'll have to have you guys come on to my podcast.
Oh, that would be awesome. We would love that.
So we can set something up for that.
We'll bring Mistress Laurie. I'll be there, and then we'll bring in our producer also, that Reverend Michael guy. He comes in once in a while, and so we'll have to have him on there too.
Definitely. I'd love to talk shop. It's not often I get to bring on other podcasters, so I think that's, in terms of just talking about each other's shows, I think that would be cool to have you guys on so that, expose you to our group of people too, because it's the same circle, really.
Yeah,
we should all be supporting one another.
I'll warn you though, my two husbands, they tend to argue with each other.
Oh, we don't argue. We might. Yeah, he knows I'm the boss, so whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
All right. Real quick, we need to bringing back to the giveaway, because we are coming down on time and I'll remind everybody what we're giving away tonight. That the quarter mask grin from Inferno Effects. So, my dear Mistress Laurie, have you come up with a question for tonight?
Yeah, okay. Well, there was a reason I asked you about the effects thing. I'm going to use that as my question.
Sure.
So don't say anything. You glazed right past the name of it twice, really fast, so people would have to be paying attention to catch the name of it. So that's your question. What was the name of the effects company that he did the effects for the different movies and stuff?
There you go. Okay, so the first one to send the answer, and you may have to, because I heard it different both times. So you may have to do a little research and figure out exactly what it is. First one to send the correct answer to hauntchatlive@gmail.com wins that awesome grin. And see, I modeled for it.
I want one of those. I can think of some gruesome effects I could do with that.
Head out to infernoeffects.com, and they have all kinds of really nice. They do some really awesome masks and other things too, but they got some really cool stuff out there. Michael, wonderful having you on. Is there anything that you would like to touch on with your show or anything else before we call it a night?
Yeah, I want to tell everyone, head on over to morbidlybeautiful.com. That's where you can catch my writings. We have a great staff there. It's a great website. Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when you can catch the show. And until next time, this is the Dead Man telling you all to rest in peace.
It's been a blast.